Hi, this is Bella. Welcome to our weekly report. We're selling cattle. So we want you to sell all the cows.
Hello, Todd Clemens, Okeechobee Livestock Market, and here's your weekly market report for the second week of October. Things are kind of back to normal. Our runs have leveled off to normal runs. We had 1,300 head more or less Monday and Tuesday for both days, and prices held up fairly well. We had a lot of slaughter cows, a lot of slaughter bulls, and prices were about steady compared to last week. We've had a lot of cattle coming in the last few weeks after the storm, and supply has been pretty big on those cows and bulls, so kind of back to normal. And those better cows are bringing up in the high 70s and in the low 80s on the very best cows. Slaughter bulls are bringing up over $1 still. Some bulls bringing $1.03 or $1.04, which is really good. The pressure is on the feeder calf market, and we've been hearing about barges having trouble navigating down the Mississippi River. And I know it's really hard to imagine that after we're coming out of 2 feet of rain in 2 or 3 days. So it's just hard to imagine that it's so dry up in the Mississippi River floodplain that there's no water. I mean, it's not going to go dry. I don't think that would be disastrous, but it's to the point where these barges are having trouble navigating the river. And what I've been told is a lot of that corn, I don't know, the vast majority of the corn that comes down the Mississippi River on those barges is exported. It goes to the export market on ships, and a lot of that goes to China and other parts of the country. And so if that corn backs up on those barges that can't come down the river, what are they going to do with it? Well, if you can't export it, it's going to have to stay domestic. And so that's another variable that we will have to consider and see how that works out. And we always talk about the cost of gain on these calves when they enter the feedlot, and that's about the only place they can go. Still is so dry in the grazing parts of the country. The wheat planting is going on, and pastures are waiting for some rain. There was a little bit of moisture in the panhandle of Texas, I believe. Probably New Mexico got a little bit. So we're just kind of waiting to see if there's some rain for that wheat country. But there's just limited places for these calves, Florida calves, to go. So buyers, I think, are buying them and putting them in preconditioning yards, grow yards, and trying to get them straightened out. And hopefully by then these pastures will have some moisture on them, and these prices will get back to normal. But there's a lot of pressure on the calf market. We saw the front end of those calves this week bring easily $3 to $5 lower than last week, and it's all about drought, and it's all about feed cost. And so we've got to get those things straightened out. But the fundamentals, as far as the inventory, is still down. Meat is moving really well. I think exports probably will slow down a little bit due to the extreme high value of the dollar. And usually our exports do slow down when countries can get supply from cheaper sources. But the dollar is high, and that'll translate into probably lower exports, which will mean more meat here domestically. But inventory is lower, and we're still looking for prices to hold up where they are, and hopefully somewhere down the road they'll pick up even more. A few weeks ago we had some 600-pound front-end number one calves that were bringing $1,000, $1.60, $1.65 on those 6-weight calves. This week they'd have been hard-pressed to bring $1.50, probably more like in the 140s to close to 150. So a little bit of impact there, even though they're still selling pretty good. They have backed off from what they were a few weeks ago. And we do hope that that thing will pick back up and these calves will start bringing $1,000 or more, because they sure need to for the ranchers down here in Florida to make ends meet and keep going. So anyway, we'll be back here Friday. Don't forget that this Friday is Bull Sale Friday. We're having the Little Creek Farm and Friends bring us bulls they're here, they're in the pasture, they're doing good right there, and we'll bring them in Friday morning. They'll be pinned up and ready for you to look at them Friday. We'll have lunch at noon, and the sale starts at 1 p.m. There's about 60 head of really, really top-notch Brangus bulls. We've been selling these bulls for many, many years, and people keep coming back to buy them, and I expect it'll be a packed house, and these bulls will sell really good. So if you need a Brangus bull, come see us Friday. And the top prices this week, we had Victoria Ranch north of Okeechobee out here had a little heifer calf. She was a heifer, like a roping calf, that weighed 205 pounds. She brought $2.55 a pound, bought by Foy Reynolds. And on the slaughter cow side, again, I think for the second week in a row, Overstreet Ranching had a cow that weighed 1,390 pounds that brought 88 cents. That cow was bought by FPL. That's your market report. Thank you.